Welcome back, brothers and sisters. In today's video, I've got 4 alchemy guilds for you to add to your D&D world. Now, don't forget to pay your hobby tithing, leave a like, and let us pray. Guild number 1, the Scions of the Wyrm worship dragons as the first masters of alchemy who could transmute reality with a flap of their wings or an exhale of their breath, making them the unquestionable rulers of the heavens whom all aspiring alchemists should study under. So these folks look to dragons and don't just see a terrifying, powerful beast or an ancient, one of the most ancient monsters. They actually see like the first enlightened scientists or the first enlightened chemists of your universe. And maybe they even have like a creation myth, right? Just like this image that dragons actually created the world using their mastery of alchemy. That like the heavens and space exists in the giant cauldron or a giant bubbling, vial that the dragons keep filling with life with their breath. The red dragons are the ones creating the flame that keeps everything in this all the stars moving and bubbling. Blue dragons with their lightning are what ignites change. Green dragons in their acidic breath are the fumes that bubble out of it. That's just kind of off the top of my head. But that could be a really cool creation myth for your universe that these alchemists push. Now, how could you incorporate them into your world? What do they actually do? Maybe these alchemists serve both like a good and evil dragons, and they infiltrate, courts of kings as they're like scientists or even just the alchemists of these royal courts. But they're really there to spy on them for the dragons because they want to meddle in the affairs of humans and see that their schemes, their formulas, right, for reality come to fruition, and they use their alchemists to do exactly that. I think that could be really cool. Maybe these alchemists worship dragons by seeking out where they have once ruled. Like if dragons are kind of rare in your setting and most of them are dead, then these alchemists find their remains, they embalm them, they just like a mummy, right? They take out all of their organs and they store them in urns and jars and vials. They get the scales, the bones, everything, and they use all of that to create the most powerful potions and alchemical mixtures that the realm has ever seen, right? Like that's how they try and bring dragons back into existence. If they can't reincarnate them, if they can't, here's an idea. Maybe they're trying to clone dragons. That could be a fun little offshoot, like a heretical offshoot of this alchemical order. The ones who are trying to clone dragons, but the main members just want to see the chemical miracles of dragons brought back into existence on the mortal plane, because without them, then maybe everything would just spiral into absolute chaos. That would be awesome. And this guild could easily hire your characters to go maybe slay evil dragons. Maybe this guild wants those ones killed, and then they use their remains to make new, better dragons, or to just see the foul chemical reactions spawned by the evil worms undone. They need to kill them, so that's why they hire the characters. Just a few ideas, but very cool order, I think. Guild number 2 is the Galacticus Excavatus, which operates secret mining facilities on Xenos planets and even other planes of existence, such as the lowest pits of hell, to harvest the rarest or most powerful elements not yet discovered by mortals and process them into tools with which to defend humanity from cosmic threats. Of all of the ideas I have today, this is my favorite. It is so on brand for my type of D&D setting that smashes sci-fi and fantasy, because maybe this guild has a mining operation on a comet or a meteor that is orbiting the realm or is way off in distant space. Like they started this mining many decades ago or in a prior age, and it's just drifted further and further away, and now they've kind of lost contact with it. So they need to send a group of adventurers up there. They need to teleport them to this mine, and what's waiting for them there? The Mind Flayers, the Beholder, whatever kind of weird Xenos creature you want your players to have to fight could be up there. Oh, I think that would be so cool. And then your players are maybe just abandoned on this meteorite mine, and like they have to use the materials on there to reactivate the teleportation portal and get home before the aliens overthrow them. That could be really cool. And maybe some of the miners are infected with whatever crazy aliens up there. Oh, that would be awesome. But also, it doesn't have to be so sci-fi. If you want to stick with fantasy, maybe they're sending their miners to other planes of existence like hell, or the elemental planes of earth and fire and those kinds of things, or the Feywild, the terrors of capitalism in your fantasy world and the industrial complex, right, have found their way into the Feywild, where they are mining so deep to pull out the oldest, rarest gemstones that the realms have ever known. And that's what they're using to bribe kings and tyrants of other realms, or even they're doing this to bribe gods. That could be very interesting. So your party is either sent into hell to maybe kill an archdevil who is bribing or blackmailing the leaders of this guild, like, hey, I'm going to let you keep mining here in hell, and I won't tell Lucifer, but you got to pay me a lot of money, or you need to sacrifice a lot of your miners to me if you don't want me to say anything. So the guild's like, let's get some adventurers to go take out this archdevil. That could be cool. Or druids kind of seek out your party and say, we've got this group of alchemists that are poisoning our forests, and they're digging up all of these ancient stones and things that we need you to go put a stop to this and save the Feywild. And an archfey needs you to come do this for us. So many weird, crazy directions you could go with this that I think would be awesome. And then this last little point of like, what are the things that they're creating? One of the first ideas that popped into my mind is like, it's a great way to bring ray guns. If you want like some cool sci-fi ray guns in your setting, then they're mining this radioactive gemstone out of fallen stars, and they put that into a crossbow device, and that's what creates a ray gun. How cool would that be? Guild number 3, the Roots of Humanity, fears the mortal species is ill-prepared to survive a doomsday, and thus is taking the necessary steps to ensure it can regrow from the ashes with the aid of mutated plant life. Considered heretics by many druidic circles for their cruel experiments and willingness to put the future of mortals before the future of any other life form. I envisioned this guild as the sort of conspiracy theorist, the end is nigh type guild who is so desperate to ensure that humanity isn't ever wiped out because of this supposed doomsday, whatever that might be in your setting, that they are attempting to create some sort of hybrid between mortal life and plant life, so that even when you die, maybe your heart becomes the seed from which humanity's roots can embed themselves into the earth, and you will regrow. So maybe in your setting, things like treants, dryads, or even like a shambling mound might be even a better idea. Those are all failed experiments created by this guild in their pursuits to create a form of mortal kind that will always be able to come back, no matter what happens. Even if the gods themselves were killed, these people, these alchemists, see them as the true saviors or potential saviors, future saviors of mortal kind. They might be a little hard to, I was going to say they might be a little hard to design a campaign around, but I just had an idea. It's The Last of Us. They're in their attempts to combine plant life and mortal life, they create the sort of like fungal, I guess fungal and plants are not exactly the same thing, but you get my point. They have created some sort of plant zombie virus that is now spreading across the realm and turning people into these shambling mound zombies, and they're the ones responsible. So they hire the party to try and go put a stop, like cut off this virus before it spreads too far, not wanting word to get out. Maybe they don't even tell the characters they're the ones responsible for it. And then if the characters fail and it starts to spread and get worse and worse and worse, the characters can discover like, what? It was you. Like, you're the ones who caused this. We need to work together to get a cure. I think that could be really, really interesting. But I also just wanted to share, like, if you look here, you could see that there's like trees and plants in these vials. And this image just reminded me of, I can't even remember what it's called, but there's like somewhere up in the sort of Arctic areas, is it Iceland or Greenland, somewhere like that. There's a big facility that supposedly has like a sample of every seed or plant life known in existence or something, so that if the world does end, they can grow everything back. That's what popped into my head when I saw this image, and I just think a guild of alchemists in your world so paranoid about people going extinct that they're willing to do whatever it takes to allow them to come back could lead to some very interesting secrets or adventures to drop into your world. And my last idea for an alchemist guild is the Still Mothers, who understand the world to be one grand chemical reaction whose ingredients, both literally and metaphorically, must be carefully managed if cataclysms such as volcanic eruptions, typhoons, or even ice ages are to be avoided. They operate out of secret laboratories hidden in the clouds and deep beneath the Earth's crust. So this is meant to be a balance, like a perfect middle ground between the elemental druids and those people who are, everything's connected because all life is connected. It's like that belief, but taken over into the scientific community side of things, where it's like everything's connected because we know the exact formulas and the exact ingredients that need to be combined to create or prevent some of these really destructive reactions from happening. A human sacrifice in a volcano to stop an eruption from happening isn't just something that appeases a god or a volcano spirit. These women of the Still Mothers understand, like, no, there is something about a human soul, like the rare elements within a soul, whatever that is, they have figured it out, right? Like, that is what will counteract with the violent reactions going on in a volcano. And that's what will stop it. That's why we have to sacrifice somebody. Or like to stop an ice age. They know that just the mere presence of the Lich dwelling in the far north in their stronghold, like their very being is messing with the chemical compounds of reality and causing their undead influence to spread. And that's why their zombie skeletal armies coming down from the north and bringing these tundra storms with them. Like, it's all happening because it's a scientific reaction. It's the cause and effect, not because of necessarily the actions that the Lich is taking, but just from their influence on the fabric of reality. If that makes sense, to me it does. To me, it seems really, really cool that these alchemists can show up to your characters and say, like, we know exactly what to do to stop this thing from happening. You want to see the realm saved from this terrible, typhoon that's going to supposedly come when the Kraken awakens. Well, we know what must be done to keep that Kraken asleep. You need to go, kill this evil clan of storm giants and see their powdered flesh distributed across the seas, and that will work its way into the water, and through some reaction, it'll keep the Kraken asleep. I don't know. That's just a random example, but I think there's a lot of fun to be had with this guild in their sort of like, not Deus Ex Machina of like get out of jail free card type thing, but they'll always have an answer because they know, like, yes, all life is connected because of this formula. This equation right here says so. I just think that would be a lot of fun and a cool kind of middle ground. So that's the Still Mothers. And that'll do it for my 4 ideas for alchemy guilds to add to your D&D world. I hope you liked them. If you've got any of your own, of course, appease the algorithm gods and share them down in the comments. And also for my most loyal cultists here at the end, I've got some announcements. Main one being, we are $1 away from $2,750 in the Doomed Stronghold Kickstarter zine. So we had a nice little jump since yesterday's video, and we are halfway to our next stretch goal. So if you haven't gone and checked out this handmade zine full of a bunch of random tables that not only help you generate a stronghold for your players, but basically kind of help you make an entire campaign around the reconstruction and operation and defense of this stronghold, go check it out in the link in the description. Also, my most recent Patreon release last Sunday was a set of Alchemy Lab themed terrain assets for your VTTs and 4 pre-generated maps that you can just use to run your very first adventure. Take one of the ideas in this video, use that map, and you've got your very first one-shot to run. Some of the terrain assets that I had were like a bunch of big stills and boilers and things that all the potions would be making, or that they'd be making all of their potions in. There's a cool like closet with a bunch of magical potions inside it, all the desks that you might need, and like a weird shrine of like an alchemy hand that could be like, you should go watch my last video, honestly, or one of my most recent videos was there was 8 reasons why alchemy labs are the most deadly locations in D&D. Go watch that video, pair it with one of these ideas, and run an awesome alchemy adventure. I think that'd be really cool. But that's it for me. Thank you all for watching, and we say these things in their unholy names. Amen.